Our next speaker here, and is Oliver. I'm just kidding. Olivier. he gets Oliver all the time in America, you know. But Olivier Melnick, and he was raised in a secular Jewish family in Paris, Texas. Just kidding. Paris, France. And after meeting Ellen, his future wife, and reading a book on prophecies that she had given him, Olivier began a search which led him to believe in Jesus or Yeshua as his Savior. So Olivier married Ellen, and soon after they settled in the United States, where they felt an increasing burden to reach Jewish people for Yeshua. Olivier has a bachelor's degree in Jewish studies from Moody Bible Institute and a master's in biblical and theological studies from Dallas Theological Seminary. So he's a bold evangelist and enjoys communicating God's word, and his desire is to help Christians understand the Jewish roots of the faith, and he hopes to train many to be effective in Jewish outreach. His passion is to see Jewish people throughout the world receive Yeshua as their promised Messiah. So he has written 7 books, and he is the executive director of Shalom in Messiah. So come on up here and do your thing.
Good morning. Is everybody awake? Or as long as we're awake but not woke, we're good. Well, I'm really honored to be back here. Thank you for inviting me. I'll tell you a little bit about the ministry in a minute. How many of you, raise your hand, how many of you know that there are 2 sides to every story? Right? And so today, what I want to try to do is, I'm going to try to do this at least on a few topics within my main topic of fighting anti-Semitism. I want to give you both sides of several stories that we've been hearing and that I think Christians are not very well equipped to defend, and that's the problem. We need to be more vocal. We need to be able to defend defend our faith and and fight the lies. And so 2 sides to every story. That's going to be the main theme that's going to be coming back. To really, for you to understand the importance of understanding what we're talking about and the danger of, the 2 sides of every story and poor communication very often. Let me take you back to the Middle Ages, at the time where Jews and Christians were doing, well, it was really initiated by the Christians. Those things were known as disputations. Christian bishops and priests and leaders would gather and say, hey, we're going to have a theological dialogue called a disputation, and those are recorded in history, and with the Jews, with the rabbis, and if we win, then we can just expel them or just, do something to the Jews. So this time arrives, and the Pope says, we want to have a disputation, get the head rabbi. So the head rabbi of that town is summoned, and they're told the disputation is going to happen. And so he's a little nervous, of course, and on top of that, the rabbi doesn't speak the language. He doesn't speak Italian or doesn't understand Latin, and the Pope doesn't speak Yiddish. Why would he? Although he wears a yarmulke, he stole it from us, but he doesn't speak Yiddish. So they go, we're going to do the whole disputation without using one word. Okay, it is what it is. So they get together. They sit down, and the Pope looks at the rabbi, and he goes, he puts his fingers like this, 3 fingers in the air. And the rabbi looks back at him, and he goes, 1 finger. Then the Pope goes, with his hand, he goes over his head. He circles like this. And the rabbi goes, pointing down to the ground with his hand like this. Then the Pope pulls out the communion wafer and the cup, and he shows that to the rabbi. And the rabbi pulls out an apple. The Pope throws his hands in the air and he goes, "We're done. We lost. I can't beat this guy. You guys can stay in town. You're good." Rabbi goes back to his small shtetl, his small village, and the cardinals and the bishops are like anxious. They go, "What happened? We always win those things. What happened?" The Pope goes, "This was incredible. I told them, God is three." And he said, "Yes, but God is one. There's only one God." And then I told them, you have, it's hard to remember that joke because there's a lot of details. you guys, all of you, have to leave. And, wait. I knew I was going to mess it up if I had the text, I was going to read it, but it's better if you don't read it. No, that's it. So God is three, and the rabbi told me, no, God, there's only one God. And then I told them, God is everywhere. And the rabbi said, yes, but he's also right here, right now with us. And then I pulled the wafer and the chalice to remind him of redemption, and he pulled the apple to remind me of original sin. I couldn't win. We lost. The rabbi goes back to the synagogue, and all his disciples go, "So, Rebbe, what happened? Do we have to pack?" "No, we're staying." "We're staying? You won?" He goes, "It was incredible. What happened?" He said, "Well, first of all, got to remember it right now." He said, "You have 3 days to pack your bags." And I looked back at him and I said, "Not one of us will leave." Then he said, "All of you have to leave." And I said, "We'll all stay right here." Then what? I don't know. Then he pulled out his lunch. I pulled out mine. So, communication, two sides to a story, okay? Give me grace. This is a hard joke to remember. All right. So in the 2 minutes that we have left, let's close with a word of prayer. Shalom in Messiah. Many of you will remember that I've been coming here, for quite a few years and spoke a few times as a representative of Chosen People Ministries. We were with Chosen People for, 27 years, and still very much in a great relationship with the mission, but the Lord redeployed us about 2 years ago. This coming February will be 2 years, and so we started this mission, ministry called Shalom in Messiah, pretty much the same, but more so to speak. And I'll give you some details of what we do, but basically my burden, my desire is to educate people like you, Christians like you, on what's going on with anti-Semitism. And the reason why I think it's very important, more important than ever before, is because not just educate you, but mobilize you to do something. My good friend Brandon Holthouse said this a few years, about a year and a half ago. We were in Israel together, and he said this, and I never forgot. He said, "Olivier, Christians need skin in the game." We're past the pray for the peace of Jerusalem. That's good. That's the foundation. Prayer is always the foundation. We now need skin in the game. We need to be proactive. So that's what I'm hoping to share with you. I have this QR code. It's on the screen, right? Yeah. This QR code will give you my notes. You can follow right now. There will be another very important QR code at the end of the presentation. But this QR code will give you my current notes. I sent the notes to Tommy about a week or two ago. But like most speakers, I was changing my notes last night. So not changing, but editing and adding a few fresh things that had happened since. So if you want the fresh version, scan the QR code and it will, I think you have a couple of clicks to do, and then you can have the PDF that you can get to keep on your phone, on your iPad, whatever, and share it with anybody you want. Our mission is to expose and fight anti-Semitism, equip and mobilize Christians, and lead Jewish people to the Messiah. Really, at the core of our mission is to lead Jewish people to the Messiah, but the way we do it is by opening doors, allowing the Holy Spirit to work on the hearts of people and open doors to reach out to the Jewish community. And the Lord has done some incredible things with the work that we've done in Israel, which I never thought we'd get to do when we started the ministry. I'll share that towards the end. Those are some of the books I have written. They are on the back table towards the entrance, and whatever's left. And of course, there's a brand new one that just came out on October 7 this year, the Anti-Semitism in the End Times, with Harvest House. And I still have a few of those on the table, so make sure you come. I would love to sign a copy for you. And so you'll be seeing that QR code popping up, all throughout. It's the same QR code until I tell you at the end there's a different one. So if you want to catch the notes and you didn't, you can always scan it at any time. So being Jewish, let's talk for a little bit about being Jewish. I want to take you back. Some of you already know a little bit about the story of my family. Let me start with 1942. My grandfather, Maurice Wansweig, was, and some of you have heard the story, but it's worth repeating, was hiding in a basement of our home on the outskirts of Paris, and Paris, France, not Paris, Texas. Thank you, Tommy. And he was in France legally from Russia, Jewish. Whole family is Jewish, but he did not have his proper papers to live in another country, the equivalent of our green card in America. So he was hiding in a basement, 1942. Not a good time to not have papers in Europe if you're Jewish. Gestapo came to the door, knocked on the door, asked my grandmother, "Where is your husband? We know he's hiding in the building." Somebody called us, said there was a Jew hiding in the building. She lied to him. She said, "No, he's not. He's left. I don't know where he is. I can't help you." She lied. And they said, "Well, we'll come back tomorrow in the morning, and if he doesn't come with us, we'll take you and your daughter." That would have been my mother, Evelyn. And she was 15 at the time. And they were in France legally. I mean, they had their papers. He was just in the process of getting his papers. So they left. She got her husband, my grandfather, and explained the story to him. And he said, "Don't worry, when they come tomorrow, I'll be gone. I'll find a safe place, and I'll call you and bring you back to the safe place." And she said, "If they come and you're not here, they will take us." That's when he said, "Well, I'm not going to let that happen. I will go with them. Don't worry. I'll be safe. I'll come back." He went the next morning with the Gestapo. He was murdered in Auschwitz within a week to a week and a half, and never came back. So that was 1942. My mother had to get on a train, get false papers, get to the free zone in the southwest of France. I have a video on that on our YouTube channel that you really want to watch. It's the French TV with subtitles on how she reconnected with a family of righteous among the nations, whose name is listed at Yad Vashem, by the way, who rescued her and her cousins after her dad was taken. So that story has a kind of a happy ending from the perspective of rescuing my mother and me being here, because had she not been rescued, I would not be here. 2015, I Am Charlie. Now, this is the first I Am Charlie, not the Charlie Kirk, the I Am Charlie, Charlie Hebdo magazine. Remember when the magazine was attacked, and then there was a kosher supermarket where 4 Jewish people were taken hostages, and a lot of people were shot at, and 40 hostages and 4 were killed. That was in Paris, on the edge of Paris, right in my hometown, in a suburb where the house is, where my mother lived at the time. And so I watched this on the news. At the time, I live in Seattle, and I called my mom, and she's like panicking on the phone. She goes, "Olivier, what's going on? What's going on?" And at the time, she's like in the mid-80s. I said, "Mom, stay put. My sister lives in the area in Paris. Brigitte will come and be with you and check on you. Lock the door, stay home." She had been by that store, that supermarket, in the morning, a few hours before, to do some shopping. It was Friday morning. And so she's on the phone. She starts crying. And she goes, "Olivier." Now remember, 15-year-old, dad taken to Auschwitz, dies in Auschwitz. She lives her whole life with that dark cloud of that memory, that scar. And it's 2015, she's mid-80s. She goes, Olivier, are they coming back for us? She's lived long enough to even have that go through her head. And at the time, I said, no, they're not coming back for us, Ma. Just stay put, you'll be fine. Of course, I was a little worried. Fast forward to 2023, October 7th. We're going to talk about that. But mostly what I'm going to talk about really is after October 7th. But here is the reality, friend. Okay? And I really hope you understand this is not an overreaction. The current reality for Jews is that they are coming back for us. This is where we are. When I started on this topic 26 years ago, and I told people what God had given me as a burden to really equip Christians to understand how bad it's getting, how bad it's going to get, how worse it's going to get, and I knew this was going to be where we are, but I never thought for in a million years it would be in my lifetime. I never thought it would, and we haven't seen the worst. That's why I'm telling you, it's time to mobilize. It's time to do something. It is, we have passed, if you picture, and I gotta ask Chat GPT to do this illustration for me. Actually, I use a better one. I use Chat GPT, so everything is kosher. Sorry, that was bad. But get this boat on a river with a big waterfall, and the boat is about to fall. I mean, this is the point of no return. That's where we are, friends. It really is the point of no return. Anti-Semitism came out of the box, full force, on October 8th. I was recently talking to our tour guide. I was with him in Israel about a month and a half ago, and we're doing this. I'm developing this relationship with him. He's a great guy. I'm going to be with him again, hopefully, in October when we have another tour in October. And he said, Olivier, and I want you to pay attention to this. This is profound. I hope you get what he meant. He said, Olivier, I have overcome October 7th. I cannot overcome October 8th. Do you understand what he's saying? October 7th was expected by Israelis. Not that they expected 1,200 to be maimed and raped and killed and beheaded. Nobody expects that. By the way, this was the highest level of death toll since the Holocaust in one day against the Jews. But in Israel, there's always a possibility that something could happen. It's very safe. I've been there 4 times since the war, okay? It's very safe if you know where to go and what to do. But there's always that expectation that something could happen. Not that bad, but, people live with that. That's part of the DNA over there. October 7th, so there's an expectation. October 8th, nobody expected that. October 8th, the world turned against Israel when the world was supposed to come to the rescue of Israel. Now, when I say the world, of course, I don't include people like you, like us, but the vast majority of the world. And I think that this is actually a prophecy currently being fulfilled. Andy Woods and Tommy are worried about, okay, now he's going to talk about prophecy being fulfilled right now in our lifetime. Is he going to go heretic on us? So, well, let me explain. January, February of 2025, so almost a year ago, the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, published the result of a survey, and the result was such, was this, 46%, that's a year ago, so we're probably close to 50, maybe even over 50. 46% of all adults in the world harbor some sort of anti-Jewish sentiment. That's almost half of the planet being anti-Semitic. Is there anywhere in the Bible it says it's going to happen? Oh, I don't know. It's about Zechariah 12:3. By the way, I haven't even started my message yet. Zechariah 12:3. Yes, the whole world will go against Jerusalem. We're halfway there, my friends. It's being fulfilled as we speak. The two prophecies I think are being fulfilled in our lifetime today, right now, are Zechariah 12:3, as we see it develop right now and exponentially increase very fast. And Ezekiel 36, the return of the Jews to the land in unbelief. We're in the midst of all that. And it's not going to stop. It's going. So, I want to take you back, to bring you back to the original idea that I shared with you, two sides to every story, because I want to give you, the title of the message is, Takeover or Makeover. Well, we're going to find out. So first, I want to look at a few of the accusations, show you some updated information, and then give you the ammo to fight them with the truth. So the lie, of course, is genocidal Israel is murdering and starving Palestinians. Israelis are the new Nazis in the Middle East. Really? Well, let's let pictures speak for us. The Israelis, the Jews, are the new Nazis of the Middle East. This is part of this new anti-Semitism that's been going on since it was planted in the 60s in the Middle East, and then Arafat and the PLO watered it slowly, let it grow to the point where now it's accepted as fact. But let me show you a picture that was about halfway through the war, in 2024, I believe, when a group of hostages were released in a parade, a gross parade by Hamas. These are three of them that we've seen on the news. Hamas hostages. Any resemblance? Definitely. Yes. It's them on top before the war and them after being released. Who are the Nazis now? How do we get there? Will it stop? Can we do anything? Some of the words being used in this toxic narrative: new Nazis, occupiers, colonizer, apartheid country, human rights violators, genocidal. So I want to take the two big ones that I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes. We're going to talk about genocide and starvation, because this is still to this day, okay, even in the midst of this quote-unquote peace deal, and there really is not much of a peace deal, but we already know that by now. I knew that before it even started. I want to kind of demystify those two things and give you the right ammunition to fight it back. So, again, part of the big narrative against the Jews is that we, the Jews, we are interested in the great Jewish takeover. We control the banks. We controlled Hollywood. We control the media. Friends, if we control the media, we would look a lot better. Think about it. So, is it a takeover? Well, let's unpack this a little bit. Constantly accused of plotting to take over the world. I did a comparison. This was amazing to me. Wikipedia, relax. This is not my source for research. Okay? But I'll be honest with you, sometimes I need a birth date or a place of birth for an important person or something, or a quick reference. I go there. I mean, for that it's good. But very, very telling. 2004, Wikipedia. Zionism is a political movement among Jews holding that the Jewish people constitute a nation and are entitled to a national homeland. Simplistic definition, but I can live with that. Okay, I'm not going to keep... By the way, you get all the notes, so you don't have to take notes. You can take pictures of the slides, but you get all the notes. So don't worry about it. Pay attention. Don't write anything. Okay, so entitled to a national homeland. 2025. Nobody sent you an email saying, oh, we're changing the definition now, but here it is, 2025. Zionism is the ethno-cultural nationalist movement rooted in the desire to create a Jewish state in Palestine with as much land, as many Jews, and as few Palestinian Arabs as possible. The common ideology among mainstream Zionist factions is support for territorial concentration and a Jewish demographic majority in Palestine through colonization. Oh, they're giving us more details. Good. You see how bad it's gotten? Nobody, I mean, you can find the original 2004 definition because they're all there. You know, there's like the new version, and they keep everything in, on the server or whatever. So you can go back to how it evolved to become that. And I'm not too interested in the evolution. What I'm interested in is in the fact that this is where we are right now. This is what people are reading when they want a definition of Zionism. It's crazy. The day after the attack, our good friend Rashida Tlaib, she's not a good friend. I don't want to be saying this and people are going like, are you guys really supporting? No, okay, it's not true. I grieve the Palestinian and Israeli lives lost yesterday. That's the day after October 7th. Today and every day, I am determined as ever to fight for a just future where everyone can live in peace without fear and with true freedom, equal rights, and human dignity. The path to that future must include lifting the blockade, ending the occupation, and dismantling the apartheid system that creates the suffocating, dehumanizing conditions that can lead to resistance. And she continues, and she talks about living under siege, occupation, and apartheid, on and on and on. And of course, she has continued. That's her office, by the way. In front of her office in Washington, D.C., the American flag and what looks like the modern Palestinian flag. We'll circle back to that flag in a minute. I want to share something with you. So you're going to hear also about this person that I think is the poster child for what is coming, and poster child and litmus test, whatever you want to say. Pay attention to this person that I'm about to show you next, because if what he is about to do works at any level, it is going to encourage a lot of people, and I believe it will, to pick up and do the same. Zoran Mamdani. That's November 2025. Well, I'll let him speak.
I'm proud to be one of the first elected officials in the state who called for a ceasefire. And calling for a ceasefire means seizing fire. That means all parties have to cease fire and put down their weapons. And the reason that we call for that is not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid.
So when he says the end of the genocide, I want you to understand clearly he's not speaking of both sides, okay? The genocide is us, the Jews, killing the poor Palestinians, okay? He repeatedly accuses Israel of genocide in his debate. That's, he did this, time after time after time. Of course, he declines to condemn, globalize the Intifada. The Intifada means uprising, and there was two real Intifadas in the 80s and the 2000 in Israel, the first and second Intifada, and now globalize the Intifada is a euphemism for kill all Jews. Kill all Jews, that's what it means. Globalize the Intifada. The kids that say globalize the Intifada and that scream from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free, they have no clue what they're talking about. Ask him what river, what sea, they don't know. Some adults don't know. He declines to support Israel as a Jewish state. He will not say that. He will not say that. Now, recently, there was a synagogue. I think it's Park East. I could be wrong on the synagogue. I think it's called that. But there was a Nefesh B'Nefesh gathering. Nefesh B'Nefesh is one of the organizations that facilitates the return of Jewish people to the land of Israel, making Aliyah. The Jewish Agency and Nefesh B'Nefesh, they're helping Jews. And right now there's a movement, a global movement of Jews going back to the land. Again, I believe in fulfillment of Ezekiel 36, in preparation for the Valley of Dry Bones, which is very exciting when you think about it. It should strengthen our faith. The fact that everything that God says is either happen or will happen verbatim, and then we're living in the times that we live in. It's exciting, it's encouraging. It's scary for those who don't have Yeshua, but it's so exciting to us because we know that everything that is promised is going to happen. And so to me it encourages me, but it also gives me a greater burden to share the gospel with my people because the time is short. So Mamdani discouraged the language, death through the IDF, and globalized the Intifada outside of New York synagogue. And he said, this is no place to do such thing. When he said this is no place to do such thing, as you dig a little deeper, what he meant is the synagogue is no place to have a meeting for Aliyah. That's actually what he meant. He did not mean the street in front of the synagogue is no place to do a protest. People think he was coming to the rescue of the Jewish community. If you look on the picture on the right side, there is a black and white banner. That black and white banner, that's a very little known fact. That black and white banner is actually printed and held by a group of despicable Jews. Wow, Olivier, are you anti-Semitic? No, but they are despicable Jews. They're a group known as Neturei Karta. Neturei Karta is a group of religious, Hasidic, ultra-religious Jews who to me are despicable to our Jewish faith because they are anti-Jewish, anti-Israel. They say that Jews have no right to the land and until Mashiach comes. And so they actually meet with anti-Semites. They have been doing conferences in Iran. They are despicable. And I just recognized, and actually when I first saw it, I didn't pay attention, but the little signature on the black bar on the photo, the website will take you to the Neturei Karta website. And these men are, these people, it's not a big group. It's a fringe within a fringe on the outside of all the Jewish sects. But they exist, and they're despicable. So they were there, basically protesting with the pro-Palestinians. Zohan Mamdani, actually this list came out, leaked just a few days before he was elected as next mayor. This is demands from the Democratic Socialist of America that he worked with, of course he's from that party, divest city pension funds from Israeli bonds and securities, withdraw city funds from banks that lend money to Israel or do business in Israel, end city contract with companies that do business with Israel, operate city-run grocery stores free from Israeli products, investigate real estate agents hosting illegal sales of stolen land in the West Bank, Judea, Samaria, evict weapons manufacturer and transporters from the New York City metro area, divest CUNY endowment and reinstate wrongly fired professors, dismantled Eric Adams' New York Israel Economic Council, end repressions of demonstrators and the SRG, the NIPD Strategic Response Group, remove nonprofit, listen to this, remove nonprofit status from charities that raise funds from IDF. There are a lot of Christian organizations and non-Christian organizations raising funds for IDF to bring supplies because there's a demand, there's a need. We do that at Shalom and Messiah. Talk to us if you're interested in helping us. We do that. We raise funds so we can buy it's all defensive. There's nothing offensive. We don't buy weapons, but we buy a lot of things like, and I'll show you at the end, ambulances and vests and helmets and drones and night goggles, night vision. We do that. So you would want to remove non-profit status for anybody in New York doing that kind of work. And NYPD training with the IOF. IOF is the IDF, but he calls it the IOF, the Israel Occupation Force. That's his name for it. He doesn't call it the IDF. Cannot even call it by its proper name. And of course, he has said he doesn't have the authority, but he has said that he would arrest Netanyahu if he walks into New York. As the mayor, he doesn't have the authority. But do you think he wants to remain mayor of New York? No, he has great aspirations of moving up the ladder in the political arena. So he's thinking ahead. This is what he said, and that was leaked 2 days before he was actually officially elected. This happened a few days ago. New York City principal denies request for Holocaust survivor. New York, okay? There's a few Jews there. Request for Holocaust survivor to speak at school given his message. We don't want to hear about the Holocaust. Could you talk about something else? Well, that's what I'm coming for. I'm coming to tell you my story. I survived the Holocaust. It was denied. This is all based on a false narrative, of course, but what's going to happen is that it's going to embolden Jew haters of all kinds. This thing with Mamdani, I tell you, keep an eye on it. This is going to take off. This is going to explode. This is going to multiply. A mayor was elected in Seattle, I believe, socialist mayor. It's going to continue. This is all based on a 60-year-old false narrative of the Jews taking over. You've heard me speak from different angles in the past. Let me give you a summary that I got from this man called Hillel Fuld. He's an Israeli activist, and he has a blog, he has a web page. He speaks in different outlets. This is what he said. In June 1964, an Egyptian opportunist on the payroll of the Muslim Brotherhood held up a Jordanian flag with the star removed, and so began 3,000 years. Palestinian history in 27 words. At the beginning, it was not, it was just started. They didn't know if it was going to work, but patience is one thing that they used. So I don't know if any of you knew that, but subliminal advertising is all around us, okay? I want to show you something that's you could, categorize as subliminal advertising. Arafat made the keffiyeh, the head covering, popular, famous. So, people know that when you look at the keffiyeh, it's Arafat's head covering. It's in other countries, Arab country, but he made it popular. People recognize it. They think of him. They think of the Palestinian cause, the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. Did you know that Arafat always wore his keffiyeh pinned on his right side of his jacket, pinned in the shape of Palestine or Israel? Did you ever notice that? Because that's not the way anybody wears it. Nobody wears it. That's not the way to wear it. Just put it on your head and, that's it. He always pinned it. There was like 3 or 4 pins to hold it in place in the shape of Israel. Subliminal advertising. Let me show you the modern Palestinian flag. I think you've seen enough of this one, right? This is the Palestinian flag compared to the Palestinian flag. What do you mean, Olivier? Well, on the right is Jordan. That's where the Palestinians, most of them, come from. You take that little white star and you make it into the Palestinian flag. They look almost identical. But what's interesting is that it's not the original. I have this dictionary at home. It's a 1939 edition of the French Larousse dictionary, and at the time it was the 280th edition in 1939. This dictionary has been going for centuries. And in the flag page, if you look on the left, on the top, there's a French flag. Even the French flag is incorrect. It should be all white. Oh, never mind. Hey, I was born in France. I'm allowed to do that, okay? I'm sorry. So you got the French flag, the Albanian flag, and then the Allemagne, or German flag, which is a red flag with a white circle and swastika. 1939, that is correct. That is the German flag in 1939. And by the way, that's 9 years before Israel became a modern nation. Look to the right, the other page, 3 rows down, right, 1, 2, 3, and then third from the left is this flag. Palestine. Ooh, looks a little different, doesn't it? Well, it's because in 1939, Palestine was just a name, just a word, a mass of land in the Middle East. Going back to the Romans and the Jews changing the name. You've heard this before in this room. I'm not going to spend time on this. I have got on our YouTube channel. I've got videos on that. But that's the flag of Palestine, a Jewish flag, because Palestinian Arabs, Palestinian Jews, nobody cared back then. Same on the coin. The Palestine. I got 3 or 4 of those at home. In the circle of the Palestine, Arabic, English, Hebrew, the word Palestine. In the circle is 2 letters, Aleph, Yod, from right to left, and those are the initials of the 2 words under the coin, Eretz Yisrael, land of Israel. Just in case anybody would think that Palestine is not the land of Israel, let's make sure we put it on all the coins. And all the bills, the money, and all the bonds and everything. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. So, those are all the names. I'm not going to go through them. because I want to keep moving and I want to leave time for questions. But we're going down in history from the modern state of Israel all the way to the land of Canaan. And those are all the names that the land has been called. British Mandate, Ottoman Empire, Byzantine Empire, the Seleucid Empire, the Persian Empire, and I'm skipping many, on purpose, the Babylonian Empire, the Kingdom of Israel, the land of Canaan, and everything in between. Just about everything but a Palestinian state. It's never been called that. But it doesn't stop those who hate us from pushing that narrative and even saying that Jews not only don't belong there, but are demon-possessed. Do you know that there are people saying that we Jews are demon-possessed? We're evil? Let me prove it to you.
They are essentially, and this is Sigmund Freud was a Kabbalist, and they believe in bisexuality, they worship Baphomet. They are trying to use psychology to introduce, and I read this in a book by a Jewish historian, David Bacon, to make their religion the religion of the world,
yes.
Right? Which is a pedophile-centric religion that believes in demons, it believes in child sacrifice, and it is the reason that we have the circumstances that we are in today, and most people won't be able to find this history.
There you have it. I'm not going to tell you any more about this person because we got enough already. We get enough, and she is toxic. Toxic. So let's talk about genocide, okay? Israel has committed genocide in Gaza, UN Commission of Inquiry says. This is the Navi Pillay, she's one of the heads of the UN, and she basically, that's the narrative that's being pushed. Half of U.S. voters believe that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza in a recent poll that was done. Of course, it's coming not only from the squad, but here's a picture of Bernie Sanders going like, can you repeat the question? I don't understand what you're saying. That's what he's saying. Anyway, September 2025, Bernie Sanders becomes the first U.S. senator to accuse Israel of genocide. Publicly, okay? The intent is clear. The conclusion is inescapable. Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. This is the Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez. He regrets not having nukes in Spain. Why? To defend Spain from like dangerous, other countries? No. In order to be able to defend the country against the mad dog, settler, colonial, ethnic cleansing, genocidal state of Israel. Those are his words. It encourages anti-Semitism. This is from Spain. I think it says Jews are rats or something like, or get out, and Palestine will win. Okay? But is the view of Israel being the problem, is it really, is it a fringe view? Is it, the share of Palestinians saying Hamas committed the atrocities on October 7th. In 2023, 7% believe Hamas did what they did. In 2024, 9%. In 2025, 10%. It's still very, very little. 90% of Palestinians think that Hamas was justified. Not that the reason was, because they wanted the land. They were justified in the kind of actions they took to get their land, which of course is not their land, but they were justified in their methodology. 77% today in Gaza and in the territories in Judea, Samaria, of the Palestinians believe that Hamas should not disarm and Hamas did nothing wrong. 77%. So it's more than just Hamas, okay? And by the way, this is from a very good website, Jewish Virtual Library. I recommend it. Okay, so genocide. Are Jews killing Palestinians? And hey, the proof is in the pudding. It's all over the internet. It's all over the news. And we get all kinds of footage. Well, let me show you some footage. This is an example of a lot of the stuff that we get. The evidence is overwhelming. Okay, here's a little Palestinian baby. By the way, this was taken at the time where they were saying that we're starving all babies. If we're starving all Palestinian babies, that baby looks pretty plump to me. But it's not the end of the story. Just watch. That's when artificial intelligence is not so intelligent.
I am Safa from Gaza. In female kill me and kill my children. Please, Share the video and use my audio to reach my voice to the world.
You notice what happened? Look again. Whoops, sorry.
We are my audio to reach my voice to the world. Share the video and use my.
This is what you get on, people don't pay attention. They look at the beginning, they repost, they don't pay attention. This is all fakes. I have all this text. I'm not going to have a chance to read through it, but it's in your notes. But part of the, the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide that came out in 1948 is imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group. Part of genocide is killing babies. Who did that? The Nazis. In large numbers. They did experiments on babies, but they also killed babies. So we Jews in Israel, we also killed Palestinian babies. So much so that over 50,000 babies were born in Gaza since October 7th. We're not doing a very good job, I guess. This is not genocide. According to World Population Review, the Gaza population grew by 2.84% in the last year. Mind you, this is not a large number, I get that. But it's a positive number. It's the opposite of genocide. This is not a tremendous growth, but this is the opposite of genocide. It's also worth mentioning that the Arab population of Israel in 1948 was about 600,000, and now it's grown to over 2 million. As a matter of fact, Israel goes out of its way not to kill the wrong people. Let me tell you a story. I've been there 3 times this year, so I forgot which trip it was. I think it was in August. We went to Metula. Some of you will know what that is. That's a very, very northernmost border of Israel with Lebanon. And looking at that white line over the hill on the picture that I took here is Lebanon. And a lot of those homes are basically, it looks like Gaza. It's destroyed because this is where Hezbollah took over the homes of all the people and were shooting at Israeli citizens. And we're in the backyard of a man that we had just met that day, and he was explaining the whole thing to us. And Stefan is his name, and spent a couple hours with him. It was a really wonderful time. And so what happened is that I'm looking at maybe 300 yards, 400 yards at that border, and I go like, there's a lot of damage. He goes, yes, the IDF just came and just shot and destroyed all those homes, and that were taken over by Hezbollah to use as launching pads. And I said, well, okay, that makes sense. And then I look to the right and I go like, I have a question. Why did they stop, or did they miss? The whole section here is completely intact, untouched. Nothing happened. Did they miss or did they stop? He goes, oh no. They were not being used by Hezbollah. They were either Christians, Orthodox, or Druze, and they were or Sunnis. They were untouched. Israel would use surgical precision to hit Hezbollah, and when they knew a house was not being used by Hezbollah, that house was untouched. You're talking about a house right here on this side of the room, and a house on the other side. One is destroyed, the other one is left intact. That's the genocidal Israel that you get on the news. I'll skip those because they're in your notes. So the genocide is a lie. But there's another one that's being used. It's the starvation. We're starving the people. The food is not getting there. Hunger and disease in Gaza will only worsen from man-made famine. Oh, I agree with that. Except the man-made famine is not made by men from Israel, but by Hamas. United Nothing, or United Nauseous, whatever you want to call them, the UN General Assembly mandated Palestinian Rights Committee issued a statement on Wednesday reminding that the famine is projected to spread in the coming days if Israel fails to allow in more food aid. Israel has done nothing but to help. And so what they started to do is they started to publish pictures like this all over the news, all over the world, of starvation, all fake Gaza famine photos. All fake. Some were just photos made by AI, okay, ChatGPT, or some were real photos of poor kids that suffered from degenerative diseases where food was having no effect on them. They could not get fat. They could not grow. They had some diseases that had nothing to do with starvation. Like this poor kid is not being starved. He suffers from an illness that will not allow him to grow fat on his body. And they use that saying, the Jews are starving our children. And that's what you get on the news. Let me show you about starvation in Gaza. This was taken in September. I'll skip to where it's... This is September, okay?
شايفين يا جماعة؟
Gaza.
هاي في عنده الكيك بأنواعه للناس اللي حابة تاخذ للأعياد الميلاد، وكمان بياخذ تطبيق يا جماعة.
نفس الكاش.
نفس الكاش.
بس حد أدنى 100 شيكل.
حد أدنى 100 شيكل، وهي عنده يا جماعة.
It goes on and on and on. I feel like saying let them eat cake, but that's not appropriate. So,
vegetables, just cans and cans of vegetables. You could feed so many people chickpeas. You could feed so many people with this stuff. What do we have over here? Looks like more chickpeas. Like, look at just endless amounts of food. And over that fence, there's more.
Hamas ends up getting that stuff and reselling it or controlling it. This is Gaza City in September 2025. Doesn't look like starvation to me. They like chocolate. I do too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Gaza City, September 2025. Look at this.
When you scroll through Gazans restaurants on social media, you see a lot of chocolate. To be precise, Nutella. Tons of Nutella. It's a real phenomenon. Everything I'm showing you here was filmed in Gaza in the past few days. This isn't AI. It is all real. And if you don't believe me, great. Don't believe a single word I say. All the links to the restaurants will be in the description below the video.
I'll skip for the sake of time, but I have all the links. I have all the sources. If you email me, you get a PDF of this, but if you want the videos, I'll send them to you. Now, more recently, we got X released a new version of their software where now when you post something from somewhere in the world, on X, like I post from Rockwell, Texas, where I live, and I say, well, I'm actually reporting from Paris, France, not Paris, Texas, and I let people think that I'm in France when I'm really in Texas. Well, this can be used for nefarious reasons anywhere in the world. And here we have this guy who says that he's reporting from Gaza, but he's based in Poland, and he's got 197,000 subscribers. Another person here, a doctor based in the USA with 68,000 followers, really based in Jordan. Here is a Gaza journalist. He's really based in Indonesia. So now you cannot hide yourself. I mean, you can if you're tech savvy. I'm not going to get into the details, but you can use what's known as a VPN and pretend that you're from another area. But most of these guys don't. And but now they're going to be exposed. And I got to keep going because you're not listening fast enough, so I got to move. So this is all basically because the irrationality from Satan. They're all coming from Satan, the master of lies. We'll get back to that. I think that slide is repeated later in the presentation. But this is basically Satan trying to keep the Jews from calling Yeshua at the end of the tribulation, and Jesus is going to return, and if the Jews are not there, Satan can make God into a liar and destroying all the Jews. That's his agenda, and he's using all those lies. And it's working, friends. It's working. So I want to give you the other side of the coin, beyond a little further. So I have the scriptures there for you. You can read them on your own time because I have more to show you. But 1 Peter, it is a spiritual battle. Know this, if you do not understand that the battle we're fighting right now is a spiritual battle, anti-Semitism coming from the enemy of God, from Satan, if you do not know it's a spiritual battle, we will not know how to fight it. Ephesians 6:12, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. So this is a destructive agenda of Satan. I told you to keep the Jews from calling on the one whom they have pierced, Zechariah 12:10. Well, good luck with that, Satan. Good luck with that. Because we Jews actually, this is not, this idea of Jewish takeover is a lie. Jewish people are not interested in a takeover. We're not. But what is in the Jewish DNA, we could call it, is a Jewish makeover. Let me explain. First, well, I'll skip that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to skip that video here because I don't have time. But this is a video of Joe Rogan saying that he believes that there are at least 500,000 Jews in the world. Based on, not his research, obviously, but based on what he's taking from what's happening in the world. First he said 1 billion, and then he says, maybe 500, let's be conservative, 500,000 Jews. So he's way off. So people have no clue. And so we keep hearing that Jews want to take over. We don't want to take over, we want to make over. There is this concept in Judaism known as tikkun olam.
So you've got...
Tikkun olam means repairing the world. The concept of tikkun olam goes back to the 3rd century, and it's first mentioned in the Mishnah. It's part of Judaism and refers to repairing and improving the world to bring it closer to the way it was created. It provides purpose and hope to every Jew in the world. It's part of the Jewish DNA. We like to make the world a better world. We'll do anything to make a better... And I think God has blessed the Jewish people and, by extension, blessed the world because of what He has done through the Jewish people. It's hard for me to say because I'm Jewish. And it's like, it sounds a little cocky. You got to be careful. But it is, the numbers are there. Okay? So there's 2 concepts here. And one is tikkun olam and the other one is tzedakah. Means philanthropy or charity. The concept of tzedakah is a biblical principle. It's more than giving money. It includes compassion and empathy. Deuteronomy 15:11, for the needy will never cease to be in the land, therefore I am commanding you, saying, you shall freely open your hand to your brother, to your afflicted and needy in your land. Did you know that Jews make up 2% of U.S. population? Half of the U.S. most generous philanthropists are Jewish, and that the majority of Jewish mega donors give to non-Jewish causes. Not only, but many non-Jewish causes. On average, Jewish people give 100% more to charity than Catholics and 50% more than Protestant. Tikkun olam and tzedakah are part of the Jewish DNA. This is who we are. We're not greedy. We want to make the world a better place. And if we have to be generous, we'll be generous within our means. This is who we are. And the world is a better place because God has blessed us. You already know that. Jews are disproportionately represented within the Nobel community. There were 992 recipients of the Nobel Prize between 2001 and 2025. 217 were Jews, 22% of all Nobel recipients. Jews only make 2.2% of the world population. Of all Nobel Prize won by Jews, only 13 were from Israel. Jewish contributions benefit the whole world. Those are some numbers here in different categories. I'll skip to some of the big inventions. The ballpoint, stainless steel. This one always makes me laugh. White Christmas was written by Irving Berlin, which is the all-time #1 hit. Hey, business is business. Word processing computer, polio vaccine. How about that, 1955? Drip irrigation all over the world. Okay? A different world because of that. Pacemaker, defibrillator, Google. Heard of that, Google? But there's more. Mobile phones, video games, camera phones, instant cameras, Marvel superheroes. You got to put the Marvel superheroes in there. Pill cam, instant coffee, TV remote, chemotherapy, kidney, dialysis machine. All those things invented by Jews. Kodachrome film, pagers. Too soon? Okay. Jeans, videotapes, color TV, fax machine, microphone, and wait for it, maybe my favorite Jewish invention of all times. Ready? Cheesecake. Okay? So, and there's a lot more. But all those things happen, and they're making the world into a better world. Again, we want to make over the world. We want to make the world a better place. And yet the world is saying we're starving the Palestinians, we're genocidal, and of course we have to boycott Israel. And you've heard me speak on the boycott, divestment, sanction, and I'm about maybe 8 minutes from being done, Tommy, before you ask the questions. He's looking at his phone. He's going like, I gotta bring Olivier to a close here. I'm almost done. We have time for questions. But I want to finish with this. We're being, people are pushing the BDS agenda. Let's boycott everything Jewish, everything Israeli. So, okay, let's try.
Day 1 of boycotting Israel. Today I am cutting out cherry tomatoes, as they were developed and widely commercialized by Israel. Day 2 of boycotting Israel. I will no longer use shampoos and products manufactured by companies that profit from Israel's occupation. It's day 3. Turns out there's Israeli tech in my gaming console, so it's time for a hike. Guys, I deleted my GPS. It was made by the Israelis. I think I just missed my exit. I have no idea where I am. I'm gonna go look for help. It's now day 4 and I'm lost. Good news is that I don't really have access to anything else I could boycott.
Wait.
I can't take these meds. They're made in Israel.
Go to bdsmovement.org. Go to their tab where it says, this is what you need to boycott, and then you've got your list of things you can buy. More great Jewish inventions came to the world after World War II. What would have happened to our world if Hitler had succeeded with the final solution? We would be in a very different world. The world truly is a better place. And I'm not bragging. I'm not saying like, I'm such a great person. We're all sinners. We all need Jesus for salvation. That's a different issue altogether. But the world has been blessed, going back to Genesis 12, blessing the world through the Jews. Part of God's promise in Genesis 12:3, that all families of the earth will be blessed through Abraham's descendants. The least we can do also is to bless the Jews. Would you agree with that? Through our friendship, our support, our prayers, we can bless Israel. And what I think is the most important part is to bless Israel with the gospel, the gift that never stops giving. We have started doing that at Shalom and Messiah in ways that we really did not expect. We got connected with many people at the IDF. This is Unit 66. Some of their the commander, Ilya Lefkovitz, stayed at my house about a year ago with another one of his soldiers. They're all reservists, by the way. They really they go back and they do whatever they can to make a difference. You see that little vehicle there. Our ministry was blessed to be able to raise money to buy them 2, and they use them as ambulances in the field to bring supplies or to bring wounded back. And here is him talking for about about a minute or less.
Hi, Olivier, and Shalom and Messiah. We wanted to say, first of all, it's our Yom Kippur today, so Gemar Chatimat Tova to everyone. We wanted to say thank you for all the help and donation. Here in Syria, you could see we have here the razor 2 razors actually, that you guys purchased for us. And also for all the help and support you guys have been giving us during the last year. It's been tremendous for us and been extremely helpful. Thank you. That's the main thing we want to see. We hope to see you guys soon in Israel. We hope to win this war, and the good will win against the evil. So keep on praying for us and helping us. It's really our pleasure to have you guys as part of our family of Battalion 66. Thank you very much. Have a great year and great news. Shana Tova. Thank you.
So this came out, in around September, and we've been working with them, and it's given us opportunities as we get skin in the game to really earn a right to speak. We don't want to go there and say, hey, believe in Jesus, but we want to show to Israel that we as Christians support Israel. We want to show them that we are committed, we have skin in the game, and what happens is that it opens doors that I never thought would be open. I went back after a year and a half in a house that we're renting in Upper Galilee, and we had a barbecue, and at the barbecue, here you see me in the back of the room. At the barbecue, we had brought, and that's Ilya sitting next to me translating for me. That's the unit right there. And I'm sharing my testimony, and I'm telling them why we do what we do. And I totally was able to share the gospel with them, read from Scripture. And if you look at the clock on the right side, behind the TV, there is a pile of little books. Those are Bibles. They all got one given to them before they went home. Not all of them took the Bible home. Some of them put it back on the table kindly, but several took it home. I have pictures of some of them reading the Bible. So we continue, but this is it. This is what it means to build relationships. And I was able to do that because they trust us, because they keep asking us, why do you keep coming back? Nobody's coming. That was about a year and a half ago. Nobody's coming. Nobody cares. No, yes, we do. And I tell them, there are plenty of Christians in America who pray for you and who want you to see, we want to see you succeed. But more than anything, friends, we want to see them come to Yeshua, don't we? So, again, our friendship, our support, our prayers, through all that, we can bless Jewish people with the gospel. I want to show you one more clip, and then I'm going to give you a challenge, and then we'll open it for Q&A for the last 20 minutes. So let's look at this. And oh, by the way, I actually wanted to show you this because I skipped it, but I want to go back to it. I heard this from Alan Dershowitz, the lawyer. You see, if you watch Newsmax, he's always contributing. He's a liberal, but old school liberal. When they had a brain. And not a Marxist, so I respect him, and he's brilliant. Actually, I've read several of his books, and he said this, that he heard this from his rabbi recently, and I thought, wow, this is profound. He said, a casual Jew will become a Jewish casualty. We need to be involved. And I add this to this: a casual Christian will become a Christian casualty. We can't be casual anymore. We need skin in the game. Friends, it's good to get together and read papers and discuss theological perspective, but we are Christians, we are believers, we believe the place of Israel, we believe what God is going to do with the Jews. If we really believe it, we need skin in the game. Let me finish with this, and then final statement. Some of you might have already seen it. It's the very, very end, couple of minutes to the end of Schindler.
Hebrew from the Talmud. It says, whoever saves one life saves the world entire. Alaska, there are 1,100 people who are alive because of you. Look at them. if I made more money, I threw away so much money. You have no idea. If I just... There will be generations because of what you did. I didn't do enough. You did so much.
All of us can do something. All of us can do something. In the past, I've shared with you, many of you, that I was also involved in a private network to help rescue and shelter Jewish people. We've shifted that to a different methodology recently because of the way things are changing. My heart's desire is to help the Jewish community to do just that, to be able to build bridges, rescue, shelter, help, and build bridges so we can meet in living rooms like this. I mean, in the Galilee with IDF soldiers sharing from the Bible and telling them about Yeshua right there because they trust me because they see that I care. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And so here we are. I'm looking at the Schindler movie, and I'm thinking, we can all do something. This network that some of you actually probably signed up for, what's happening right now is that basically safety is becoming a real challenge, a real issue. I mean, we live in the days where your vacuum is recording your thoughts. You think I'm joking, right? No, if you have a Roomba or a fridge or anything that's smart is recording your thoughts. You don't know where they are, not your thoughts. That's next. Your words, your moves. So pretty much nothing is safe. So the important thing for us is that you are equipped to share the gospel with our people, to share it properly. So I have this barcode. That's the important one. That's the one you want to get. This barcode is going to get you to a page where we get your name, email, and address. And it's only coming to us. And I will send you in the mail in the next few weeks a packet. In that packet, there'll be a couple of little books and some instructions and some tracts, some gospel tracts, and to equip you to share the gospel with Jewish people. And then, what you need to do, we're not putting anybody on any network, we're not building this anymore, but what you need to do is you need to pray today, tomorrow, next week. This is going to be an ongoing thing for you now. If you really believe in my message and the importance of the message and the time we live in, dear Lord, how can I be a 21st century Oscar Schindler? How can I be a 21st century Corrie ten Boom? How can I make a difference? My neighbor across the street, my neighbor next to me, across town, my Jewish co-worker, schoolmate, Jewish doctor. You know, a few doctors are Jewish. Do you know that? You know somebody Jewish. Some people say, well, I don't know anybody Jewish. Well, you might know somebody who knows somebody Jewish. Use your brain. Think. We all have a connection somewhere. We can all make a difference. So what we're going to do is this is going to grow organically. We're not going to keep track. I want to equip you. Come back to shalomandmessiah.com. There's going to be a series of videos coming in the first quarter of 2026 on videos on how to share the gospel with the Jewish people. We want to constantly provide you with equip you with what you need to share the message of salvation with my people. This is it. But to be able to do it, again, skin in the game, be involved, show that you're passionate about making a difference because you love Israel, you love the Jewish people. This is where it's at right now. And it's not going to get better for the Jews. Christians need skin in the game. We need to be involved. So please scan this barcode, this QR code. get on with this thing. Again, we'll just get the information to send you the packet. We're not sharing it with anybody. Now, we send all this for free, friends. It's all done for free, but it does cost money. So if the Lord leads you to do so and you want to donate at shalomandmessiah.com, you can do that and help us because it's all a faith-based. So we'll send it to anybody who wants it for free, no questions asked. And continue to communicate with us on if you meet Jewish people, if you have questions, we want to be a resource. But this is it, friend. This is the final mobilization. This is very important. We are at a crossroads. Never thought I would be in my lifetime, definitely not before the rapture. So I think we have about 12 minutes left for Q&As, if we have any.
Is Olivier in English Oliver?
Is that the question you have right now?
That's obviously, I just asked it.
Yes, Oliver in English, Olivier. Although, to throw more confusion, the only Brit I know that has my name is actually called Laurence Olivier. So go figure it. I don't know. Yes, yeah. Oliver is...
Well, I've only had these thoughts just in the last few hours. So, okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. All right.
Oh, okay. I just want to recommend a book. It's called Abyss of Despair. We all hear about Holocaust. I don't know how many here are aware of the Cossack-Polish War in the mid-1600s. It makes the Nazis look compassionate in their slaughter of Jews. If you go back and look at all the pogroms and what the Jewish people have been under, they're peaceful, they're living in farmlands, and then all of a sudden these anti-Semitic forces come in. I can't even describe the brutality to pregnant women and children, what the Cossacks did in the mid-1600s. That's just one example. If you go back in history, the Jewish people have been living peacefully, and they're the ones that are being prosecuted. That's the definition of genocide, the Jewish people. They're in the middle of the spiritual warfare we're all very well aware of. And as Christians, whether we're Jewish Christians or Gentile Christians, we're in that fight. And we must band together. We must stop these politicians. We must go to these churches, challenge the Reformed theology that's out there, that the church replaced Israel. It's a war. And we're in the middle of that war. And that Abyss of Despair, you can get it on Amazon. I don't have the author's name, but that will open your eyes that it's more than just the Holocaust.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can I just say something here? Reformed theology is where pro-Israel views came from. Within the Reformed theological movement within America. And therefore, that's part of the reason why many versions of Reformed theology are very anti-Semitic, is a reaction within their own movement historically. So to use the term Reformed theology as a broad category, in the way is just not right, true historically. But
I have not used that term.
I know, but I'm just saying, Dallas Theological Seminary was founded by Presbyterians who are otherwise Reformed, and that was 100 years ago, and I don't have any other comments on that. But
right. Next. Ma'am?
Okay. Are you familiar with the House of Redemption in Jerusalem?
I don't know that I am.
Well, after October 6th, the church there, and it's, a Christian, Jesus-believing church, they were telling everybody, both non-Christians and Jewish people as well as Christians that were going there, to donate money, and they were telling all the people that were members of the family of the people that went to fight, if something breaks in your house, call us. We'll get it fixed.
Yeah, there's been a lot of organizations doing a lot of great work that way.
Yeah, and the pastor Zoomed to our Bible study group, and one of the churches in Gig Harbor, Washington, and they raised thousands of dollars.
Wonderful.
Just to go provide for things that the families of the people that
There's
were going
a lot of
to
great needs.
needed.
Yeah, and that's and there are organizations. I'm not familiar with that one, but thank you for sharing that, because a lot of great needs are being made that way. But we need more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
My name's John Kaufman. And,
sorry.
Oh yeah, I just started earlier this year working with a ministry. It's a missionary organization to Jewish people in St. Louis, Missouri, and so part of what I do is I travel to churches and I talk about what does the Bible say about Israel, and I'm having a lot of conversations with people of my generation that they're trying to figure this out about what do we do with Israel, and I've had things like one guy said, I don't think Jewish people exist anymore, so you don't exist. And I find a lot
I
of
don't exist, but they still want to kill me.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Go figure.
But, and you were talking about Reformed theology. I actually find most of this is within Bible churches. People, because we're not defining our terms well. Like we say we need to support Israel, but we don't really say what that means. And so that's my question for you. I tell people we need to support Israel, and they immediately jump to, well, you're saying we need to buy the missiles. What do you mean, or what's a good definition that I can give to people for what we mean as dispensationalists when we say, I support Israel?
Well, as dispensational Bible believers, when we talk about supporting Israel, we're always going to start with a biblical foundation. So it's the right to exist. It's the right to the land that was defined, which is not, it hasn't been fulfilled yet, but that was defined in the end of chapter 15 of Genesis, the boundaries that will be, fulfilled in the millennial kingdom. So it's the right to exist as a nation, the right to a land, ancestral homeland, biblical ancestral homeland, and it should be that simple. If we have to spend the next 3 hours proving that the Jews are not descendants of the Khazars in Eastern Europe, and then proving that the protocols of the elders of Zion is a hoax from the early 1900s, we can do that, but usually the people that are throwing those things at us are not interested in the truth. So I would say that the first thing that I do with people is I try to gauge if they're really interested in learning and possibly changing their worldview, or if they're just spewing things that they got on TikTok just because they want to be part of the crowd that's anti-Israel. If they're truly interested, then I take a quick biblical approach to I take them to the covenants. I think if you can't spend time with anybody who has an interest in the Bible, spend time in establishing a basic understanding of the covenants of the Bible, 5 of the 8 given directly to Israel, 4 of the 5 to Israel, unconditional, unilateral, eternal. Then if you can spend time doing that, then you establish a foundation that will be hard to destroy, because the whole foundation of our Bible really on the covenants. But if you can spend time on the covenants, you will be able to really give them a solid ground to start from if they're interested. But most people are not interested. That's why I'm saying, and I'm not throwing my hands in the air and saying, okay, we're done telling people the truth. No, I do this every day. I do it online. I do it all over the world. But right now, parallel to what we're trying to do to educate, it's time for mobilization. It's time for Christians to say, okay, it might not get better. What can I do to be there for my Jewish friends? We're there, friends. We are there. We have actually surpassed the 30s and the 40s in numbers and a percentage. So I don't know if it answers your question, but
yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
First off, thank you so much, Olivier. Loved it. I have a very succinct, quick question. To the best of your knowledge, based on the resources you have, the people that you speak with, how close actually is Israel to finishing off Hamas in those tunnels? I hear from people various numbers. Oh, they're done. They're down to one. To the best of your knowledge, how close actually is Israel to finishing them off? Thank you.
Well, I really wish we were genocidal, because we could have blanket bombed Gaza Strip on October 8th and be done. Really. Everything would crumble into the tunnels, everybody would be dead, it would be done. But Israel is not genocidal. Israel goes out of the way not to kill innocent people. So, and guess what? Hamas knows that, and they play that card so well. Right now, to the best of my knowledge, there's one hostage remains or body left. And they're going to hang on to that one for as long as they possibly can. Because the minute that body has been returned, Hamas has nothing. Okay? But it's not that simple. The world is pushing Israel. It's the only country in the world that is actually losing a war even if it wins it. The world, and I'm not too excited. I voted for Trump, but I'm really not too excited about the way things are going right now. It is not a ceasefire. A peace treaty is not the peace plan. It's not going to happen. They're pushing Israel to make decisions. It's not over.
It's a deal.
Oh, where's that coming from?
Trump does deals.
He's a businessman.
Right.
He's a businessman, and it's, if there's money involved, it's okay. It's just, let's cut the deal. The art of the deal. And it's been good in many cases because nobody can buy him as a politician. But in the case of the Middle East, number one, he's acting as it's a business deal. And number two, and we've heard this before at this conference, the Middle East does not operate. The ideology of Islam is not the ideology of the West. Never was, never will be. You don't compromise. You don't negotiate. They only understand force. I know it sounds really nasty and racist, but that's the only thing they understand. And we in the West are using Western behavior, and it's never going to work. But Hamas, there's not much left of Hamas. They're completely, there's not much leadership. They keep bringing new ones. I wonder how they elect the next person who's going to be the leader of Hamas. It's like, it's okay, I'll pass. But they're not really organized, but they keep coming back, and they don't want to disarm. They do not want to move out of Gaza, and they will never have peace. They're already saying that if they can, there will be another October 7th. They're open about it. So enough already.
Thank you for your time today. I don't think we can underestimate the power of social media in influencing not only our younger generation, but also the even strongly rooted Christians that are looking at this and hearing, where do we go? We can't just say, oh, they're off the rail. That is not a strong argument for my son-in-law, for that client sitting in front of me. Where are the sources that are debunking the lies of political corruption, of the genocide in Gaza? Where do we go to get the resources necessary?
There are a few good sites. Honestly, and I hate to toot my own horn, but start coming to our YouTube channel. I add videos constantly exposing the lies, giving like
I've watched a few things.
So I have websites that I will discuss. It will be in a description. You can also, if at any time, email me and say, Olivier, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. I'll send you the sources. But start with our YouTube channel and our website, because we do have a lot of that kind of stuff. That's what we do. That's part of what we do. And but you have it's a very good it's a valid question. It's because here's the thing, friends. The other side is more organized, more equipped, and more vocal than we even dream of. And then you're not going to like what I'm going to say. But here we are at this conference. We're together, brothers and sisters in the Lord. We're all pumped up. And then we go home. And then comes the weekend. We go to church and we get back into our routine, and we move on. Please, please, I beg you, this year, don't just move on. Please get ready. Be mobilized. Get skin in the game. Please. Because they do not move on. They get organized, and it's going to get a lot worse. And first they come for the Jews, then they come for the Christians.
Hey, Olivier. I'm here more to answer one of your questions. What can we do? And I think the biggest thing that I see, and this is for everybody here, is Jesus said, go and make disciples. And I think as Christians, what we need to do is get other people converted so that they understand what they're doing. Because debating with somebody who does not understand Jesus and does not have Jesus in his heart will never understand.
Right.
Like you said, you do not negotiate with a snake.
Well, the core, is, of course, is the Great Commission. We have to make disciples, get people saved, and get saved and discipled properly so they understand the place of Israel. But parallel to that right now, the clock is really ticking. And so
we need to get out.
We need to reach out to our Jewish friends. We need to let the Jewish community today needs to hear from their Jewish neighbors and co-workers saying, hey, I got your back. I'm a Bible believing Christian. I understand the place of Israel in the Bible. I understand the love that people has for the Jewish people. I'm the same because I read my Bible, and I want to tell you, I've got your back. If you need anything, you can count on me. It could be the neighbor next to you across the street. Find them. You know where they are. Scratch your head and think, oh, I know somebody Jewish. We need to let the Jewish community, the best way to do it is through your own relationships because you know your own friends. And that's the way it's going to work the best for right now.
Share the gospel.
And of course, we will equip you to share the gospel through the resources that we'll give to you for free as you connect with our website. I think I'm done, right?
Yes, you're finished.